Good morning, good afternoon, good day. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for another day. Thank you for all of your provisions. Thank you for your goodness, your kindness, and your grace, and your mercy. Thank you for friends and for family. Thank you that I can come to the computer to trade, and I ask that you would give me and anyone else that's trading along good discipline, strength to follow rules, and wisdom and discernment to make good choices in the market today. In the name of Yeshua, amen. It is Monday, June the 1st. And we really only have a couple yellow folders until we get to 10 a.m. We've got ISM manufacturing, which should be decent at moving the market, but we don't really have much until then. But you never know what might happen, so I'm just thinking that with the way this is, we might have a bit of a slow morning until we get to 10 a.m. Let's break down the euro dollar. Well, man, this market is just pinching and getting tighter and tighter. Let's get rid of these objects. The daily chart looks terrible. It just looks bad. Okay, so there's something to take note of here, though, while analyzing on the daily chart. It's that we had this pretty solid attempt to break out on Friday and get back into this zone from back over here. And it seems like we've got a pretty, I mean, the candle is still finished bullish, but it's actually closing back below the consolidation over here too. We've got even these days in here, and we've closed back below there. So I think we're seeing a bit of a false break or a whipsaw to the upside. So I'm gonna probably still lean towards trading to the downside now, since the candle just couldn't make it. It tried to get back up into this zone and it's been rejected. Doesn't mean it can't still get back up there, but we'll zoom in into the smaller time frames and see what's going on. So through the London session, we've had another attempt to try and make it back up during just this past London session, and we couldn't make it. We've been rejected again. So here's Friday's attempt to make it out and get to the new range. Couldn't do it. We had another try earlier in the London session, also rejected. So kind of building this little, it's not a great head and shoulders, but it's kind of like a shoulder and a head and a shoulder over here. This is what I call like a shoulder that's too early, like time-wise. There's not enough time, so it's not a great head and shoulders. Like over here, from between the shoulder to the head, we've got 23 bars. And from this side to the head to the shoulder, we've only got 15, 16 bars. So it's not the greatest like head and shoulder setup, but we've got pretty good couple rejections to the upside. Go down to the 15-minute chart. You can see the London session in some more detail. Had a good attempt here from whatever that was. Maybe the Frankfurt Open. Oh, it's only 13 pips. Man. Very small movements. So we had this attempt up. Then again, we had like another attempt up here. They got rejected even on the smaller time frame. So going into the 5-minute. This is just bad market conditions. They're just so slow. Such little movement. Here's the 1-minute chart, and we've got some candles that are trying to start getting going here. That's 2 pips. All right, well, I'm gonna just be using 2 pip targets, take profits today. On Friday, I was trying to squeeze some 3 pip take profits out, and it's just not working. So I'm gonna go with the short side, and we'll wait till we get a little bit of a pop back up into these highs. To take a short. Make sure everything's set right. Yep. We're going to be using 0.05 lot sizes. Risking 2% in total on the total drawdown. The market's like, it's trying to move. Like there seems to be volume of traders, but the volatility is not here. Oh, David. How's it going, man? You're early today. Good to have you. How was the weekend? Yeah, trying to adjust your timing. Man, the market is just shrinking. The movement is, it's just not there. Each session is like its movement is just going away. I'm kind of frustrated because it's only just the start of June and the market's looking like we're in the middle of summer already. Good weekend, but short. Took the kids to the skate park for a little bit on Saturday, which is good. Getting good on their bikes. It's actually time to get them bigger bikes now. They're outgrowing their 16-inch bikes. Oh yeah, I was thinking of that. I ended up getting some really good little bikes for the kids, and they didn't want to paint them. They got the colors that they wanted. They really liked the bikes. We got some pretty nice ones they were like almost like new actually. Got really good little bikes, and so they didn't care to paint. They got the colors they wanted. Yeah, I mean, I was thinking that we would paint bikes, but just didn't need to. Maybe on the next bikes. Yeah, they could probably have ridden bigger bikes like all season long, but they just seem to like the riding bike small, which is kind of funny because I rode BMX bikes for like all my upbringing. So I always rode a small bike. And they've chosen to stay on the smaller side as well. But we gotta get them onto 20-inch wheels next. Excuse me. Did you end up? How'd you end up finishing up on Friday? Is it a good way to finish? Or have you taken any trades yet today? Or just getting started? I just got in here. I actually had a good little trading session last night. Even though the market was not moving much, I squeezed a good chunk out of the market, actually. I started out over here. And just kept my two pip take profits on because the market's just moving so little. I was able to get 3 pips a lot of the time, but I've got to go back down to 2 pips. Just not getting the 3 pips anymore. But this was a really good session. Just back and forth, just kept, every time it popped up, just kept shorting, kept shorting, kept shorting, kept shorting, and did really well. Like, there was not much movement through there, but just had good timing and kept landing the targets, which was good. So we'll try and do the same thing today. But definitely gotta find yourself getting in sync, which I find means you've really got to be patient to get started. Like, wait for the market to extend itself out to a good spot and start off on the right note so you can get in sync. Regardless of how you enter, like, the patience of waiting for a really good entry is going to help get you in sync and stay in sync. Did good Friday. Just starting this morning, forward testing this week. Oh yeah, nice. Good. A trading simulated to forward test. Like, look at this. This is nuts. When you go and measure the market in here, you don't even have 3 pips here out of this range. Like, if you nailed it perfectly, you could just squeeze 2 pips out of there, which I would definitely be trying to do. But that's very difficult conditions to make any money in. Ah, man, I just hope we get some action this week, because this is hard to make money in. Over here through this part of the London session, like, there's 15, 14 pip run. There's somewhere where you can make a little money back and forth, but then even like that shrinks off into next to nothing. Then after you get your 15 pip run, you're stuck with a 4 pip range. So not easy to make money through there, and then especially through here. So we'll just hope we get a little bit more movement today. Testing out some new rules, same setup though. All right, cool. Okay, so we weren't able to pop back up to that line just yet. It hasn't even moved 2 pips. This is the New York Open that we're in right now. For the last 20 minutes, the New York Open. And it's just barely going anywhere. Well, we are trending. What I'm seeing is that we're still trending down. So I'm going to just start on one of these next little pop. Any little pop up now, I'll just start getting in. Okay, made it back up to these highs. So we'll start there, and then the next trade will get at the red line up here. Start trying to squeeze something out of this little market. But yeah, I feel like for me, like my rules are all staying the same. I'm not changing anything. I'm just shrinking my target just a little. But for me, like that's a big enough adaptation. It's just that I'm going between 3 pips down to 2 pip target. That's the only thing I'm changing to adapt to this shrinking market, shrinking conditions. Other than that, I'm not changing anything. Still got to be super patient. But when it comes to a target when the market's just not offering you your regular target, you're not doing much good trying to squeeze. Maybe you usually get 20 pips or something. If the market's not offering it, you're just not going to get it. So when you're testing out the new rules, is it kind of like you're just like shrinking them a bit? Or is it like when you say it's the same setup, and you're changing the rules, is it just shrinking them a little bit to try and fit the market? Is that what the goal is? If that's the case, I feel like you're doing exactly what you need to do. Learning how to make out the weeks, trading before the week starts, then it's easier to focus on the grade A setups only. Yeah? Okay, any little pop higher, I'm gonna try and get into another trade. Oh man, I feel like I missed it. Okay, one more little pop. Right there. Okay, now that trade target just fits inside this range. Just fits in there. The start of the week pushes price in a direction. Throughout the week, there's news that propels the markets. How do you make sure you're on the right side of the trend? Follow it and wait for the catalysts. Yeah, I feel like you've got to maybe like let the catalyst happen. Like let it show you the cards and have it get going, and then try and fit your trade in to where the market is started to take, where the catalyst has started to take the market, I guess. Yeah, I think like I feel like I kind of get what you're saying. Like usually the market, yeah, it pushes generally for one way through the start of the week, and then generally you get a midweek catalyst of some sort that turns it and makes it go the other way for a bit. But at some point, you get stuck in what we're in now, where it's like just not going anywhere, and you need a catalyst to like get it started. Okay, there's a gap. I'm going to take a short right now to see if I can get this to pull back and fill this gap, because usually right in here you'll get a market that drops back down. So I'm taking an early trade there to see if I can get that gap as we're in these highs over here too. So really, I would want my target to be above that red line, so I'm early. But I'm going to try and use that gap as a little bit of help to see if I can get the market heading back down. Like that's a good reason for the market to turn and come back down. So we'll see. I know at this point it's just going to be hard to get anything out of the market, so I'm squeezing it a little bit, trying to force the trades a little. It's kind of like forcing them, but like I know I can see the market's not moving much, so I also like it's not necessarily a bad thing to try and add your trade a little bit early, because the price cycles are really small. So if you're going to make anything, you kind of like got to match the price cycles. So there we go. It came and filled that gap, which is what I was hoping for, but I'm just seeing if that will turn into the catalyst to turn the market back over. Okay, so we got like an official 3-bar reversal on the 1-minute chart. 9 a.m. red folder. Yeah. That's 10 a.m. for me. So we got an hour and a half. Hopefully that will get things going. Like, it would be really nice if that really got things going. I don't expect the market to do too much between now and then. But you never know what news might just all of a sudden show up. Might be like if you're sitting there waiting for a catalyst, you might want some wild news to just show up and get the market going. Like, if you got a good something like an economic, like some kind of like big world news event that happened right now, it would probably, because of the time of day, it would like get the market going and keep it going for a while. Whereas like if it happened late in the day, it would be like you get like half an hour movement and it would just like die. But if we got a catalyst at this time of day, it would probably be a couple hours of good movement. You're expecting a slow market till noon. Yeah, I'm definitely with you there. I think so too. And that's why I'm adding my trades a little bit early, because I'm expecting it to consolidate and not really go too far. So in this case, we've got from like pivot here to pivot up here, we've got 5 pips. So that's like the end of a price cycle on a day like today, in the time of today. So you wouldn't want to like start buying up here, because that's the end of a price cycle in comparison to the price cycles we've been having. So if we like took some of these over here, that was a 5 pip price cycle, and it turned. Over here, going to the downside, that was a 4 pip price cycle, then it turned. So now we've got a 5 pip price cycle up. Are we going to go straight up and then head for another price cycle up, or is it going to turn? I would lean towards it turning, because that's what's been doing. Here's a bigger price cycle. That one's 8 pips, and then it turned. Man, I can't believe that's only 8 pips. But that's what we've got. We've got these really small price cycles, so I'm going to fade the end of that 5 pip price cycle rather than consider it to be a breakout past my line and then try and go long. I would rather just fade the end of the price cycle. I mean, and hope that it is the end of the price cycle and then it turns. But that's how I'm viewing the market in these price cycles, and they're small. Even back here during the London session, we had that price cycle up was 7 pips. That's like a decent one. And then we had a price cycle down of 4 pips. Then it went back up 4 and then came down 4. Then it went on this price cycle, which was 5 pips up. And then over here, it came down 7 pips, went back up 7. And then we kind of like got through a 2 pip, so we got a 9 pip price cycle. And then we had this little 3 pip leg back up. And then we had another price cycle off of that of 6.5 pips. So we had like a 9 pip leg down, a pullback, and then a 6.5 pip leg down. So that would have been like maybe a good entry. You had a pullback, so maybe you found the short leg in the market, it pulled back, and you got an entry for a short move, then you could have got like your few pips out of that down leg. That would have been a decent little trade. If you went with like a 3-bar reversal, maybe you could get your couple pips out of that one. And then you go into this completely dead, just super dead zone. But we'll just keep watching the price cycles and try and line up with them. But it is way harder when the market's not moving. It's way harder. So I'm going to, if this pops up a bit more, I'm going to get into my second position on this layer based off of these highs too. For me, when I'm trying to figure out what to do with the market, I find that the most important thing is to go and just do what I did there, is to go and measure those price cycles so you can get an idea of what your trade should look like. I can see that a lot of these price cycles are like 5-6 pips. So what should I be trying to get out of the market? Well, it's going to be a lot harder to get a 3-pip target on those cycles today, so I'm going down to a 2-pip price cycle or target. I'm not going to really go any smaller than that though. Okay, it's kind of pushing up. Want to get a little bit higher before I put in another trade. I think we're starting at 196.22 today. So there we go. Now we've got the market turning. We ran up 5 pips and now it's turning over. And it's hard to get these 2-pip targets though. Like even the 2-pip targets are a stretch at the moment. Almost there. That was a pretty good candle though. Now that candle might be the catalyst for some follow through on the down price cycle. Just missed that 2-pip target. And it's trying to close back into this little range. Got these lows right here where this target is just in line. But wow, it is a real squeeze to make anything out of this. Okay, and a good candle in favor of this trade. The big wick on top should hit our target there any moment. you can see that like my timing wasn't great though. Like if I had been a little bit more patient to get the trade a little bit higher, it would have taken that 2-pip target out on that candle. I would have got it, but I just didn't quite line it up right. Just had to be a little bit more patient. There's a target hit. Two targets. Just one more. One last one. But let's just take that one off for a small win because that price cycle's done. See, now that price cycle ran down 5 pips, so I'm going to actually add back into this now. Oh, something's coming into the market. It's moving. So I took off that one trade just because the 5 pips was done. So it was kind of like the end of the price cycle. So I wanted to get out of that one trade. I'm going to start, I want to fade these price cycles again. So I'm going to start getting into them as this market starts to move again. And I'm also going to just get rid of all these lines again. The dollar yen trade ran. The dollar yen. Oh, yeah. Oh, 5 pips. Did you get a few pips on that trade? So now that we've had like a run down, about 5 pips. Now we've got to run back up. This run up was 3.5 pips. So now if I can just get like that one target would be really good, but it would actually probably have been better if I had it where this candle landed. Like right in here would have been the spot if I could have landed a target there to end up before that support zone. So if we could have faded the very end of that candle, that 2 pips would have fit nicely in there, but did not quite get that. So we'll see. But if we can get, because it ran up 3.5 pips, now if it comes down like anywhere into here, I'm going to want to just get out of the trade and then call that a price cycle, because the price cycle down may even already be over. But I still have a short bias in the euro dollar right now, so I can just still hold on to my short trades, and even if they take like another 5 price cycles to get back to hitting that, I'd probably be okay with that. But I definitely wouldn't want the target over here and to miss the end of that that new support spot. So I want it to be still at least in here. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Done for the day. Nice. How much did you get? Like 4 or 5 pips on your trade? If you do it right, man, you can make all the money you need on 4 or 5 pips. Four pips. That was good. Yeah, 4 pips is perfect. Like you got 90% of that price cycle. If you got 4 pips on that 5 pip price cycle, you got most of it, which is really good. When we're trying to get the profits out of our trades, like a lot of the time we're only getting maybe 20-30% of the run, and so if you're able to get 90% out of that run because your price cycles were timed well or your target was timed well, then that's amazing. If I get another retest, I may look for another short to London low. Okay. So that London low is probably over here. Is that the London low? Right in there. 159.4. Almost right on the dot. Yeah, you could get another one in there. What's moving now? Starting to. Should get that euro dollar trade off here shortly. Isn't that funny? Like that tiny little market, it stopped right on that red line. This became support, and it's just been stopping there. So now it's got to break through in order to hit my targets, which I don't really want. I want to be able to get the targets before they have to break. So I could take like a 50-cent gain and a 5-cent loss and then say that I'm good, because it's starting to run into a new support before hitting my target. And there, it's starting to run away from my target. Looks like the yen just might actually be starting to move a little bit better than the euro dollar. Okay, now I've got a candle in favor. Had a wick up and then came and closed all the way back down. So that's going to put pressure to go through that consolidate. There we go. Got the break and a target hit. See how this candle closes. But that was a perfect little catalyst to break through that support zone. Let's see how this candle closes. Are we going to close below? Ooh, right back on it. Right back on that line. I'll leave it on. Just because overall I'm still a little leaning towards the bearish side. Can have another attempt to hit it. And if it can get past that wick, there's a really good chance it'll go and hit the target. Actually, I could maybe even just go for a tiny bit more to get to these lows. What would I be shooting for? Oh, it's still not even 2 pips. I want it to get to here, get to that low then. Oh man, okay. It's barely 2 pips to get to that low. So you know that little red support line is just back in play. Tried to break down and it's back, sitting back on top of it. We are stuck again. Couple minutes to the top of the hour. Could see a little bit of movement. Okay, so now we've got this tiny minuscule range of 1 pip. And we're going right into the new hour any second now. Will we break out of it as we go into the new hour? One pip range. Okay, into the new hour now, and we can see the candle moving. Like, it looks like it's moving a whole bunch. It's not, but you can see the new traders coming in. In comparison to what we've had, you can see that the candle's starting to move. So now we got an attempt to break down and another rejection. So we're going to break out on the top side now. One rejection to the downside over here, second rejection over here, and a close back up. Good chance we're going to break the other side of the consolidation. We've got maybe some highs over here that could play into a factor into whether it will continue up. We've got this high as a potential resistance point to help it stay down. We could actually turn it into a little head and shoulder over here. We've got maybe a shoulder here and maybe a head here, so we could maybe see a shoulder over here. There we go. Nice. Another target hit. So any pop back up, I want to try and still take it to the short side. So we got a really pretty good strong candle now into this new hour. That candle was 3 pips. So a decent sized candle, finally. I think that's the biggest, or almost the biggest candle. We had a couple decent ones in here. Violated the range, no retest. Okay. So we got the breakout, or the range has, oh, like, so it came up to that line, but it just blew through rather than had an opportunity for a short. So now we could be heading into some longs for the euro or the yen. Five-minute chart. Yeah, just breaking out of that range. See how that candle closes. We're about to close in just a few seconds. So this euro dollar is also right at support now. Dollar yen got a 5-minute candle close to the upside. Strong close on the dollar yen. So now you've got a confirmed breakout on the yen. Still heading towards last week's POI, last week's point of interest. Is that right? That little range back over there in this area. So now we got a 13, 14 pip run on the dollar yen from pivot low to where we're at now. It's about 14 pips, which also is, you've had price cycles that were around 5 pips or so, 4 or 5 pips, and now we're at like a a solid double price cycle. So there's a good chance this will turn around here. It's now run 2 price cycles up. This is a good spot for it to turn. It might keep going, but it's a good spot. Euro dollar is at support. I just don't know if I want to try and get any longs out of it. It'd have to extend down pretty good for me to get into longs. And I just stay with the short side because of the rejections that we've had over here through on Friday. Strong rejection. Then just during the London session, we had a rejection to the upside again through that London session. So I'm going to stay on the short side unless we get a lot more movement. So back to the 1 minute chart, we've got a leg down, finally had a good break, and it was 8 pips down, and right now it's pulling back. It has pulled back 2 pips. I can just about get into a trade here. Little pop up, okay. There, now I get into one trade to the short side. My target comes in right just before the low. Which is good. So I'll be looking at entering more trades as it pops back up into this area. Just wicked into that order block on that point of interest. Let's go back over there. Yeah, just got into it. So it's a great spot for it to turn and head back down for a price cycle maybe. So now in the dollar yen, we got 14 pips up. And now we've pulled back 3 pips. See, now you could be looking for maybe a retest back down there and then possibly a long entry. Whatever it is that fits your rules. I think you probably need a retest, right? Like you gotta have it. Oh, it looks like I just took a target. Nice. So that was really good. Just took that 2 pip target, and at the exact same time the dollar yen took its leg back up. Gaining a little momentum. Seems like there's something. Oh yeah, there's something behind this market now. That's a good, you're right in a good spot right there to, I mean, I would probably, I know what I would do, but I gotta find a new spot for me to trade at if this is gonna keep shooting down. So I've got this area here, support point. What's going on? Is that news? Doesn't seem to be any news. Just seems like maybe we're getting people coming into the market. So I'll fade the end of this this move down. I'll fade into that as we get down into that red line. How much of a move has that been now? So from pivot high to where we're at, oh, almost at 22, 23 pips. So I'm going to start getting into this long. You know what? I could probably... Why is that target so tiny? Okay, there's a target hit. I'm going to short that now. And stay with, well, go with the short side of the energy. I'm probably going to go with both sides of this now too, but another target hit on the short side. Going to go back long here. And as it pushes down, I'll go long again. On that red line as we get down there. It's more where I want it to get to. Okay, another target hit. I'm going to go short as well. As it pops up, I can get short it again and get into a second layer. And start fading into that one, this one. Any higher pop up, I'll get into a second one right there. So that's a second layer position. So if it gets up into here, I can get into a third layer. That's just a good, healthy start to the week now. It's not news, it's just a good, solid move. Yeah, looking for the retest of the range for the possible buy entry. Yep, and then swept the order block. Oh yeah, it blew right past. So now you look for another opportunity to get in for longs, but you gotta wait a little bit for that though, right? But now this is a good market though. It's a great market now. Okay, I just tagged one of my take profits. If it pops back up, I'll get back into another one. Right there. gotta get a bit higher, and I can get into a third layer. Yep, just patience to wait for another pullback. Still probably looking for the longs on that euro or on that dollar yen, right? And then, so now it's got to pull back. Well, unless if it pulls back too much, then and it comes back below that point of interest, then you might want to stay to the short side, right? I guess it depends on how much it pulls back on this next move for your dollar yen. So taking out my targets again. And now, as this market extends down, it's running 5 pips now. So I'm going to want to start to get out of this trade position, because the price cycles have been 5 pips. So if I can hit that target, I'm going to take a small loss on that bottom line and just call that good, because now it's running a 5 pip price cycle. So we'll just call that good. We'll wait for another good entry to get back in. That trade setup's done. I got my profit on all the averages. Good bunch of trades in there. One small loss. Just one little loss so far today. Gotta get 2. Is that a second one today? No, that was early. That was it last night. Just one little loss today, but that's perfect though. So now if it comes back down to these lows, I can start fading and getting back into a long. Add one here, and then I'll add one at the bottom, because now I'm at the end of this price cycle. Because now we've had an 8 pip run down. So what comes after an 8 pip run? In general, a pullback. It might not now. There might be enough energy behind it, but on average, from the price cycles that we're measuring, it's a good time for it to turn. So I'm going to add right down here as it pushes down. I'm not going to add a second one in this layer just yet, because I have a little bit more of a short bias. So just leave it those 2 for now. Let it push and break down again if it wants to. No re-entry on that one, so just take the win and call it a day. Oh yeah, just didn't give you another chance to get back in. So it might continue now. It might just keep going. It's still a decent spot for it to turn because of how much it's run. From pivot low all the way to pivot high, it's now run 24 pips. So it's still a good spot for that 5 minute, to see like a 5 minute price cycle back down. It could keep going, but on average now, when you look at the amount of price cycles that you've had, and now we've had that one, it's like a triple or quadruple price cycle run. So it could keep going, but it's a pretty good area for it to have a turn, unless that last 1 minute price cycle was it. So it pulled back 6 pips, and then it decided to keep heading up. But I think this is also a good spot for it to have a turn back down. I don't know. Just take your averages, and all you can do is play off the averages. So now in the euro dollar, it's run down from that pivot high all the way down here. It's now run 12 pips. So now that's a pretty good spot for it to turn back up. We had this one, which was 20 pips. So it shot down 20. Then it pulled back up 10. And now it's run down 12. So we've got a little bit of a smaller price cycle to the downside. We had 20 down, pulled back, now we've had 12 down. So will it continue down? It could continue down for another 20 again. But on average, it probably will turn, based off of the recent price cycles that we've had. So now we've got this little candle right here, which could be the nadir candle. If we get a bar close back up, we might have a 3-bar reversal. Target hit. And we've got a bar close above these highs. So now officially a 3-bar reversal, but the price cycles are much nicer now. So I'm actually going to short there too, because that was based off of our price cycles. Even that candle was a good one. That was 4-pip candle back up. So I'll take it either side now, whichever way it wants to go. If it pops up, I can short it again, back down to these lows. Right in here. So if it pops up, I could take that profit target, then I could short it to get back down to that red line. So we'll see what happens next. So now we've got the market's a little bit stuck. It's got to choose which way it wants to go. But now we've got more people, more energy. It shouldn't stay here long. Almost at the stock market open in just a minute or so. So then if it can grab that short target, I can get back into a long at these lows. Okay, target hit on the short side. So as it pushes down, I'll get back into a long again. Just need to push down a little bit more. Could have, if I was quick, I could have taken it as it took the target out on the short side. I could have added the long, but I've thought it might push a bit lower. Here it comes. Now it's starting to push down. Oh, there we go. I got one on now. So now we got another target at this low. So now if it were to pop up, I could take that target off for a win. And I'd be also could take off the other one for like a tiny loss. As it pushes down a bit more, I'm going to get into that second position on the second layer. As it pushes down right there, it's now got another target on. Second position of the second layer. If it breaks down, it might extend out quite a bit, so I'll just be patient to let it extend before getting into that third layer. Just let it run. Oh, dollar yen's just still cruising up. And you got a gap there. That's a pretty big gap for the 1 minute chart. That should fill. It just filled back. So now the dollar yen has run up 30 pips. It's blown past. It's got a lot of energy. So now you could wait for that thing to pull back a good bunch, and then you could find another entry, but that would be a little while from now. See if the euro dollar is still pushing down. Seems to be just kind of popping past this support. Unless it's coming back up, it could still turn here somewhere. There's another little spot where it could turn in here. So I want to try and start getting the lows for that third layer. So I'm trying to pick off bottoms now as it pushes down. If it pushes down more, I'll start building into that third layer. You can see it slowing down quite a bit. Okay, there's a target hit. Didn't really get enough on to remove anything yet, so we'll just wait and see. This is also a good spot for it to turn to have a leg up. So if it pops back down, I'll try and get more into that third layer. Or if it pops up, maybe I can get some profits. And I don't need this one to come all the way up there. I'm going to bring this target down here for a loss on that one, because I want it to be out before it's got to break that that resistance spot. I want it to be able to get up there just on a test and get out of that position. So it pushes back down. I'm going to try and get back into that third layer. Try one right here. It's just barely, not quite enough for that target. See how the target's lining right up on those bodies. There's a better push down. So I can get into that one a bit more. 2, 3. And if I can get some profit on those, I'll just take out that loss from up here. I'll just get rid of that trade. Okay, there's one target hit. A little bit more of that layer starting to come off. I'll just take that trade off for a loss, so 285 loss. And more of that target just got hit, which is good. And now we've got a bar in favor. We got this push down from this bar, and now we've got a strong close back above with an engulfing candle. So now we have a good chance we got a turn. I probably could have waited more to take that loss, but whenever I take those profits, I like to mitigate the risk as quick as I can. So now I could just like stretch this target out just a little, make just a tiny bit more on that. and a strong bar on close. We got a turn, official turn, and just hit that target. Got this. Oh, what the? Got this little trend that was coming through here that we are starting to break with that turn. Oh, it just missed that target. But there's a good chance we're going to see an up leg through here. Actually, I could short that there too. I'm going to short that. Because now, yeah, this is just good both sides. We got an up leg here. So now in this, we've had all this down pressure. And then we had an up leg, which was, okay, we took the short target for a win. So we've had that 8 pip price cycle back up. So as that pushes down, I'm going to get into longs again. I missed it. Right here. Get into the second one. And if it pushes all the way back down, we'll get into a third layer. "20 minutes to the news." So now, currently, we just had a price cycle down from here down to there, which was 5 pips. And we've got a bit of shrinking momentum. So if we're getting back down to those price cycles, what comes at the end of a 5 pip price cycle? Generally a turn. So with shrinking momentum, now we've had a big stretch down, we're more likely to see some shrinking price cycles. So at the end of a 5 pip run, this might be a good spot to catch an up leg. It doesn't have to do that, but based on the averages, that would be a good time for a little turn. Can see it really slowing down now. Probably will kind of shrink momentum until the news. So if it can push back down into those lows, I'm going to grab that third layer again. Here's one trade. Going to get into another 3 more as it pushes down. Only on the push down though. Because now I also want to take into account the slowing momentum and catch somewhere on the bottom of this little trend down. There should be another support point. And we didn't really get the turn on this trend, so this is now playing into a little bit of a downward channel. Like that. So we'll start getting into a second one. And then third and fourth as it pushes down. Third trade. And got one more trade on this layer. Right there. So now that third layer is done. And it's located in a pretty good spot. So there we go, hitting some profit targets. Okay, I think I hit one. 1, 2, yeah, I hit one. So if it pops down, I'll get back into another 2 trades. Just on the push down, I want to get into 2 more. So now we've had, from this pivot all the way down to here, we've had almost 10 pips again. So now what comes at the end of a 10 pip price cycle? It's a good chance we'll get a turn. Just waiting on the trigger for that push down again. Okay, there's another little push. There's the third trade. Got one more trade on this layer. So as it pushes down, get one more trade. Really slowing down here. Okay, there's a push down and get into the fourth. That's the end of that layer now. So it's the end of the third layer. And we've got 11 minutes to the news. coming into that other red line that I'd placed a few minutes ago. So that could be a good support spot. So the next, if it pushes down a bunch more, I'll get into a fifth layer, or sorry, or a fourth layer. But I gotta wait for it to push and extend down. So now on the 15-minute chart, from pivot high to where we're at now is 36 pips. So I'm going to start fading into that fourth layer position. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to stretch those out a little bit. I want to get into 8 of those trades. So I'm in 4. And then I've really got to start taking losses on the upper position. That was a pretty big push. After that extension down, it then pushed quite another way. So that leg has now gone 18 pips just on that leg. It's a strong push. So I've got 4 more trades to add into this layer. If it pushes down, I'm going to get into 4 more. And these trades are sitting like right on the turn. So I'm going to just push these out just a little. Because if it turns over here, it's likely going to get back up to that red line. I want to make every little bit. I want to make these trades work as much as I possibly can. So I'm going to just let them just be a little bit above this turning point. News in 8 minutes. Yep. Just about 5 minutes now. Okay, it's sitting right on that turning point again. If we can get a turn and push up, we'll take some profits. Get ready to take the loss on the top side. I'll have to start drawing down the account to get rid of some of those. Unless the news comes up, and it could also very easily pop up because we're at the end of a price cycle. Also on the longer term, like on the 15-minute chart, this run has now gone 36 pips. We're almost at 37 pips now. So we're coming into what is generally the end of a price cycle too on that 15-minute chart. Or a few price cycles. It could keep going down more, but I don't think there's like a real catalyst to make it just run 50, 60 pips. It might, but on average, we should see a turn. Just over 3 minutes to the news. I can add a little bit more if it pushes down. We got 4 more. I get 3 more trades now. Two more trades left. Just starting to hit a couple targets. And we got 2 minutes to the news. If it pushes back down, I'm going to try and get into that full layer again. I'm in 4 on this, and I should be in 8. So as it pushes down, I'm going to get into another 4 again. Okay, 1 minute to the news. I'm going to add a little bit into this position. I got 3 more trades. I got 2 more trades left. $30 seconds left to the news. Last trade. News in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Whoa, gap down. ISM, it's positive on the dollar. ISM manufacturing prices is a little negative. Wow, that's a big run now. So from pivot high all the way to the bottom, we're at 45 pips. It landed right on a support point too on that one. Well, should see it pull back in here. I'm going to clear off all the marks, all the objects. And just start over. So now on the 15-minute chart, we've run that 46 pips down. So now if we're to pull back to that red line, that would be about a 20 pip, maybe a little bit more. So halfway would be 20 pips to get back to a halfway point of that extension down, which is a pretty good chance to get back there. If I were to get back to halfway, that would be profitable. Probably gonna have to do some wobbling in between to get rid of some of this loss. Unless it just keeps going down. That would not be good. All right. So I've got another full layer that I can add in, which is 16, a layer of 16 trades. So I got to be strategic on how I finish up that last layer if it's going to keep pushing down. but that 1.16 is going to be probably a good spot for it to turn.
Can we just put the...
All right. So yeah, I was saying if this pushes down, I gotta fit 16 more trades in. And I'll probably get some right on that 1.16 level and trade a few bounces off there. I can get that, or if we get an up leg, we should see an up leg in here at some point, and then I'll just start taking some losses. Have to draw down the account a little bit, unless it just keeps pushing down, which is not very high probability at this point. Okay, it's starting to make that turn. Did the yen run a whole bunch as well? It ran a pretty good amount, but it's now turning. So the yen has run up 34 pips, 33, 34 pips. Oh, it's interesting the euro's running more. The euro's doing more action now than the dollar yen. All right, it's trying to make that turn, and this is generally a good hour, so we should see some. All I need is a couple up and downs in here, and it'll be good in this setup. But at the moment, it's still not doing anything. It's just trying to decide whether it wants to keep going down or we get an up leg. It's a really small range. It's kind of looking like it wants to shoot down again. 3 or 4 pips of movement in here. Starting to see a bar coming back up. Starting to take a little bit of profit. I want to let it actually make a bit of a turn because it's starting to turn now. Just grabbing a little bit more profit. Okay, strong bar close. And actually we've closed above these prices right here with a body. So that's a really strong bar up with a turn. So I'm going to let this layer come out with profits, and I'll probably take a loss on that top. I'm actually going to just get rid of that loss right over the top now because I got some profits. So I took a $6 loss after like a bunch of smaller wins. So now if it pops back down, we'll get back into some more buys. Right in here. So now we've got a confirmed turn. And just stretch a couple of these trades out because these targets are sitting like right on a point where it should break. So I'm just going to stretch them out just a little because the chances are if it breaks that, it should extend a little bit further. So I want to make just a tiny bit more money there if I can to make up for a bunch of those losses. It's not revenge, it's just the chances of it breaking and making a bit of a new high are a good possibility. So, and I'm going to bring this one trade down a bit to be below that low. Okay, just waiting to see what happens if we can get that turn next. If it drops down, I'll put another couple trades on for this layer, and then I've still got that 16 trade layer I'll add on if it pushes down a bunch more. Just hope that the market doesn't die off now. This should be the time when it's picking up. So because the market already seems to be slowing down quite a bit, whenever I get the leg I'm looking for, I want to be careful to get out of as much profits and as much loss as I can before the market dies off again. Because we've had some activity this morning. Now if we get any bit more, it's probably going to die off, and I don't want to get stuck in a flat market in a big position. So I want to lighten up all the way down to a small position as soon as I can. Okay, trying to make that turn again now. Okay, we got this, we kind of got like this little cup over here and then this little handle. So if it pops up, we should get another little extension, but it could easily just make a leg down now too. There we go, right there. Right on that trend line. It's got an opportunity. If it pops, we're going to break that trend and see a leg up, but if it can't, there's a good chance we're going to be back down in these lows. Because now, from this pivot low up to there, we've now run 10 pips back up. So it's a price cycle back up now. So it could easily head back down with the trend. Now that trend is much stronger too. Got a pretty strong push through those targets. Is that news? Darn it. I should have taken a bit of loss off those top ones. Now there's a good chance it's going to head down. Darn. Well, yeah, I mean, it lightened up quite a bit taking that position off, which is really good. So that's a good thing those targets were there and made some of that profit on just that wick. So I can slowly add back into that same layer of 8. Two. What an interesting little spike. 3. See what the 5-minute chart looks like for a second. Bit of a, it's kind of a funny looking little chart right now. We had this strong close back up, and then we had this. Okay, so I'm going to get 4, 5. We've got 3 more trades. Okay, if that pops back up, I'm going to start taking some losses off the top like I should have when it first popped. I should have immediately taken some of those trades off. I kind of thought that maybe it was going to have a couple candles up with the energy that it had. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So I've still got 4 more trades to add to this layer. Okay, so there's profit. I'm going to take another loss off the top. And just keep chipping away at those. Keep taking little bits of profit and keep chipping away at those losses. Okay. Going to add back into a little bit of a long again as it pushes down. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I've got 4 more trades. Okay. Took one of those off. Not quite enough to take off another loss, but if I can hit through that target stack, I can definitely take off another loss. Okay, just starting to peel off a little bit of that layer again. We're kind of right at a level right here. Okay, so I've got 2 out of 8 trades on this layer. So if it pops back down and get into 6 more trades again. This happened to me on Friday too. I was in the wrong side of the run up and I had to chip away and wobble out of the losses on that. So it's almost, it's not quite, this is actually a much better market than it was Friday. But it's a similar position. I just don't want to get stuck where the market stops moving, because then I can't get rid of these losses. As long as it keeps going up and down, I can keep wobbling, keep taking some profits, take a couple losses, take some profit, take a loss. But if it stops, I'm in trouble. The good thing about this hour is getting in ahead of time should allow this position to have enough volatility to get out with a little, maybe break even, or maybe a little loss, or maybe a little profit, but there should be enough movement to at least get out of most of this. Okay, I'm gonna get into another trade here. So that's 2, that's 3. So I got 5 more trades. but it's slowing down quite a bit. All right, this market is pinching super small again. Into a three, almost 4 pip range. I should be able to still squeeze a little bit out of that if it would move back up to this high. But it is a small range again. Trying to grab another target. But look at the candles. They're just dead again. Tiny little candles. All right, it is trying to hit that target. Okay, we hit one. This market's gonna break probably any time now. It's gonna be to the upside or the downside. Hopefully it goes to the upside, but there's definitely reasons for it to go down and break to the downside through here. Okay, hit one target. All right, here's the range. Can we break to the upside? If we do, we might see another leg to the upside, and then I'd be in good shape. Should be kind of nice. But if it goes down, I'll just keep doing the same thing. I'll wait for it to push down, extend down, and I'll buy it up again at the lows. Try and find the bottom again. Just slowly and patiently. If we can grab these targets, I would just take another loss off the top. And then that layer would be completely gone also. But gotta be kind of act slow now with whatever it is that I'm doing because the market's slow. See what the 15-minute chart looks like. 1, 2, 3, 4 strong down candles. Then we've got this pretty strong up candle followed by this funny little weird candle. It's kind of like messy price action. This is like summer type action through here. It's like it started to have its pullback and then just kind of stopped. It's a lot like summer. All right, some energy coming back in. Tagged a couple of targets. I'm going to take another loss off the top, get rid of that one. Now let's see what we get. Still ahead on the session. But we might have to take some more of these losses off. We will take more losses off here. Just a matter of how we're going to do it. Because if we get an up leg here, we might actually hit those targets. And that would be good. If not, I'll have to do some more wobbling. I could also start entering some shorts here. Which do I want to do? Sure, I'll get into a short here. Start getting into one. Then if it pops up a bunch, I'm going to have to wobble out of the shorts. So I don't want to, it's kind of a balance of when you're playing both sides. But this is a pretty good spot to play both sides. Because if it goes up, there's going to definitely be some help from the bears that have come in from this morning. So I'm okay to play both sides. It would actually help if it's going to stay in this range for a little bit. It would be good to be able to play both sides so you can get rid of these losses. But at the moment, I'm just lining up to do the inverse of what I just did on the buys. So if it pushes back up more, I can get into a layer of a couple trades. If it pushes more, I'll get into a layer of 4 trades. And just keep the process going. But it is really stuck again. All right, well, that little short trade took out for our target, so that's good. I'm gonna add a long back in here and start building that layer of 8. Slowly build that layer of 8 back in. Man, the market, it's just, I don't like it when it does this. If we had just like regular movement back and forth, I'd already been out of all these positions for profits and losses. So it's kind of, it sucks when it just stops like this. Because all you need, if you keep following this system that I'm doing here, you just need a couple up and down legs and then you're good. Your profits and losses all come off. But it's just no good when it gets stuck. Okay, I'm gonna do a second one here. Second trade on the layer of 8. I'll spread this layer of 8 out too. If it runs down, I don't want to have to get into the layer of 16 too quick. But I do want to start getting this layer down in size. I don't really want a layer of 4 up above me if it's going to keep going down. So I want to try and reduce that layer size. I want to get it down to a layer of 1 so that I can extend down another 5 layers again if I need to. All right, if it pushes down a little more. Oh man, it's just barely moving. If I can get any profit again, I'll just take another loss off that layer. And just try and wobble out of these tiny little price cycles. I've got, whatever I do, I gotta keep moving. I don't want to sit still and just sit and keep building position size. I want to keep taking losses so it doesn't accumulate. All right, come on, just tag this layer and we'll get another loss off. Come on. Be a nice market. So close. Come on. All right, there we go. Took out a couple of those. Going to take another loss off. That's working. Slowly but surely. And now, do we get a break? If we get a break, we could extend through and hit those targets. If it goes down, I'm really in good shape to just wobble out of it again. I don't really want it to go down now, but if it did, it's fine. All right, now it is finally trying to break out again. There's another opportunity for it to make its move. But it is not strong in any sense. I'm actually going to start building short in here in case it runs back down. If it pops up, there should still be lots of opportunities to get the short side off. So I want to keep having some shorts on in case it just keeps going back and down like this. In this tiny range, I want to be able to keep moving. So I'm just playing a light trade on the short side. Wow. Okay, 15-minute chart. It seems to be slowly building upward, building some upward pressure. If we could break above these highs right in here, that would get us probably into those targets pretty easily. So we got that high, and we got this high, which is just breaking. I may have added that short just at the exact wrong time, but it's okay. If it does pop up, we then would have this support zone right there. So I could short a couple trades back down to the line and then be out also for profit. So all I would need is one test back down and I could be out of the shorts. That's why I'm not really concerned if it does pop up and I've got shorts on, I can still wobble out of those. And if it doesn't break out, I'm going to be happy that I got into some shorts just to make money in this tiny little range. Crazy. I'm going to take that profit right there because it's also right on another little mini support. So I'm going to just take that 50 cents off and then, because I think I'm still seeing like it's trying to make its move back up. It's just slowly applying that pressure back in to this line. So in normal market conditions, this would have been done an hour ago. But this is not normal anymore. This is moving into summer conditions. Man, almost 3 hours into this session. Okay, so I'm just fading back into another layer of 4 now. I'm not going to get into a layer of 8 here. I'm going to get into 4 right in here. And so there's now 4. So now if it pops down, I'll get into a layer of 8. Then if it extended down way further, then I would get into the 16. But I've peeled off enough of that position now that I've got flexibility again. So hope maybe we'll just get a few more wobbles in here. If I could just even get this one layer off, I could probably just take those last 3 off actually, and then call that good for a session too. So we'll see what we get here. So we just had that little push down. That push down was now 6 pips. So is it going to keep going down? It could, but we know from our previous measurements that after a 6 pip cycle, we've been getting turns, not continuation. In this case, we might get another leg down, but I'm fading the end of the 6 pip price cycle because it could be the end of the price cycle. Okay, so we're right at the point now. Will it extend down another price cycle, or will we get a turn back up? Just going to measure it again. Is it 6 or did it move a whole 7 pips now? Oh, 8 pips in total. From that very pivot point all the way to here, we've moved 8 pips. Now it could tempt a lot of people like to break because it's starting to break these lows here. But I'm thinking that because it slowed down so much that it might just turn around here. Like that would be the trigger on probably the 15-minute chart. Yep. So you got a candle here on the 15-minute chart. It's starting to break the low. So that would be a good trigger to head back down. So for the 15-minute chart traders, that could be a good signal to be getting short to follow through with that down leg. And then we just got a rejection on that 1-minute candle, so now that gives it a pretty good opportunity to head down. It tried to make its turn there, and it failed to, so now there's a good chance it can head down. So if we're going to give that any value, then it pushed up 3 pips. So it did have a chance. We came down 8 pips, it pushed up 3. So now it pushed back down. There's a good chance for it to head back down, even and have another cycle down, price cycle down. So if we can just get one more push back up, I'm going to just take these other 3 off for a loss. I don't want it to have to, because then also we've got Like, I don't want it to have to try and break beyond this range. So if it were to come back up, that would be then an 8-pip price cycle back up. So it wouldn't be a good spot for it to just continue and break up. It's a good spot for it to turn back around. So let's see if we're actually starting to get that turn now. Okay, there's one little target off. Okay, another target, another one. Gonna take that loss off. If we can bump into that red line, I'm just gonna take those other two off. So that would have been like pretty annoying for the 15-minute traders to take that trade to the short side and then have this market happen. But that's the problem with these shrinking moves and shrinking volatility, is that that's where you lose your probability. So we hit that another one. I'm going to take that off. I'm just going to take that off and call it good. That was good. Difficult market to trade in with the lack of movement, but just pull up the history. I'm going to call that a session. I'm going to just review what happened here for myself and for all the viewers that are watching this video. So we got into, I was mostly in the short side. I was leaning towards the short side, and we got a bunch of trades off on the short side of targets. Then the price cycle was really extending out, so we started getting into the longs and kept building as it popped down, built, and then we had the news come in, and the news really didn't do anything for the market, which is quite annoying. Generally, when that news comes in, it brings a little bit more volatility for those up and down movements, but not much from that news at all. Got just like a couple trades off here, but there's just enough movement with careful placement of the trades. I got enough back and forth to keep wobbling out of those losses. So we're still ahead on the session. Started out at 196, 10,196, and we're at 203. So even being on the wrong side of that market, still ended up in profit through good process, good money management, and just being patient to wait for the good setups. So I'm gonna call that a session. And yeah, well, not a bad start to the week. It would be nice to see a little bit more movement, but we could see days like this coming in all the time as the summer months are entering in. So we got to be prepared to expect these little moves to be prepared for anything, but shrinking volatility is a probability. All right. I think that's going to be it. Thanks so much for coming in. And if you enjoyed this stuff, you want to see more of this type of content, this is what I'm doing every day. So come join in, like and subscribe. Helps with the algorithms for me and for you. And have a good rest of your day. I'll be back for the rest of the week each morning. So have a good rest of your day, and see you tomorrow or the next day or the next day. But, oh, David's still there. I wasn't sure if he's still with us. Baby steps still stack. Oh yeah, absolutely. The baby steps still stack up. That's all we had was just some baby steps to get out of that loss. But those little baby step wobbles chipped away at the losses that were on there. So absolutely, every little move counts if you've got trades on and you're careful to size appropriately and not over risk. Okay. Awesome, man. Thanks, David. It's really good to have you in this morning. We'll see you later. Okay, bye.